I ain't gonna be up on here long. I will check and wait a couple of minutes to see if anybody's gonna join the live, but I've been reading a couple of things, and so that's why I'm trying to ask the question. I am not here saying I'm an expert. I am not here saying I know the answer to the question. But the question is it time to leave? Should we be making plans to get the heck up out of here? Now, I already know there's a lot of people who have asked this question. It's been floating around ever since Orangutan won the election. And I have been toying with the idea myself. I was thinking about it before the election. I was thinking about it before he came into office. Even the first time I was thinking about it. But clearly there was an uptick even in my own mind once he won the election. But hey, I've been sticking around. Yeah, I've been traveling. I've been doing my thing, going wherever I want. I've traveled. I've still been out the country. I've been in, a couple of different places inside the country. So I'm still doing my little traveling thing. But I came across this particular post on Instagram where the lady says she's a real estate coordination, real estate transaction coordinator. And she said something like she been doing this for 15 years or something like that. All the years she been doing this, she ain't never seen so many houses being sold with the express purpose of the sellers getting the heck up out of here. Now, I don't know how she would necessarily know the reason why people are selling their houses, but okay, just take her word for it, so to speak. And so I'm like, that's why I'm asking the question. I'm like, where the professionals at? Why don't y'all weigh in on this topic? Point me into the right direction so I can find out some more stuff. And so I'm like, so you know what people do nowadays. Used to be you just go to Google and type your thing in. Now you go to ChatGPT or DeepSeek or one of those others, and type your thing in. And so that's what I did. I went and typed it in. Are Americans actually leaving in record numbers? And is real estate increased transactions proof of this? Now, for the most part, ChatGPT was like somebody blowing smoke up here in your ears. It said that, but it did say in 2024, 4,819 U.S. citizens formally expatriated, and that's a 47.8% increase over the previous year. And projections estimate nearly 4,936 by the end of 2025. So in first quarter alone, in first quarter 2025 alone, there was a 102% jump compared to the fourth quarter of 2024. Now this sound like an issue. Shout out to Turtle Kisser. Hello and peace. Shout out to Owen Thompson. Uh, Thank y'all for joining the live. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as we discuss this migration topic. So, what do y'all think? Like, you joined the live, I appreciate you. Do y'all think it's time to go? Do y'all think it's time to be like, I'm out of here, sell everything and go? They say it's been an increase, a 102% increase, at least under certain income brackets. Uh, So it says that this marks the highest count since 2020, 5,000 people leaving a country of over 330 million. Is, however, statistically minor. So it's like, pump your brakes. The topic is, peace to Owen Thompson, the topic is it time to leave America? And or is it true that more Americans are already leaving, theoretically because of orangutan, than ever before? Because again, this is the Instagram post that I saw. The lady says she's seen more real estate transactions than in her entire real estate transaction coordinator career this year, and everybody's trying to get the hell up out of here. Um, so I'm asking you, what do y'all think? Do y'all think we should ride that wave, or do y'all think that's the cowardice way, or do y'all think that's it's just not feasible? Now, ChatGPT tells me it's not statistically significant, even though it does seem like the numbers do suggest a lot of people are getting the heck up out of here. ChatGPT said most Americans, uh, Mexico reportedly saw nearly 800,000 U.S. citizens move there in 2024 alone. It says that people's listed, or when they do the research, people list reasons for getting out of here as political instability, economic concerns, cost of living, and social dissatisfaction. And there's a surge in U.S. interest in Spain and other countries that reflect this shift. So that's the topic. That's the question I'm trying to ask. I'm not here to be an expert. I can't tell you yes or no. I'm just asking a question. I won't even be up on here long. So, like I said, hit the top, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Answer the question in the comment section or in the chat room, so I can I'll go back and do some more research and come back live again. So ChatGPT says, are Americans fleeing the country in record numbers? Formerly expatriating, numbers are up. Numbers are up if you look at formerly expatriating, but they're still tiny relative to the total population. So, like I said, um, let me see. Bear with me for a moment as I, I try to go over here and make a pickup. I tell you what, this gonna take a little minute. I'ma come back live. Let me see. Yo, nice shirt. Thank you, Owen Thompson. Thank you. Yeah, the shirt is dope. I appreciate that. And thank you. One minute. So, as I'm saying, you have to excuse me for a hot second. I am in the middle of picking up some food. So my live is getting sort of interrupted. If I go back and edit this, I'm gonna edit it all out. But what y'all think though? Y'all think it's time to leave? Say something, and I'll respond to the comments. Hopefully, anybody else, if you're tuning in now, I know it might have looked a little crazy and hectic because I had to, like I said, I had to pick up and I had to get to that. So I was a little flustered. Like, should I just end the live and come back later, or just keep the thing on pause? So clearly, what I did was just I did my thing. So holla, shout out to everybody that was in the live, and I'll just stay on here and see. So, like I said, the Instagram post says Americans are leaving. Now, ChatGPT actually said, the numbers aren't that significant when you compare it to the overall population. But okay, overall population 300 million people. Okay, so yeah, most people will stay. If you're not in a certain income bracket, you might not even have a choice to stay. So I don't necessarily think that gets. So conclusion, yes, there's rising discontent and interest in leaving, but there is not necessarily a record-breaking wave of Americans selling homes to flee the U.S. So that's what ChatGPT says. So like I said, I want to know. Uh-oh, I'm muted again. Let's see. All right, mic check, mic check. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Let's see. I'm not gonna know if you can hear me if you don't say something. Can you hear me now? Mic check, mic check. Can you hear me now? I think I'm muted because somebody called me on the phone. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Peace to Lindsay or Lindsay. Lindsay says I'm muted. I'm trying to see, am I still muted? If I'm still muted, I'm gonna have to cancel this live and dial in and fix it. Mic check, mic check. What about now? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? I'm trying to I'm trying to pull it up. I'm trying to pull it up. Okay, I must not be muted anymore because I can hear me on the other phone. So as I was saying, if I put this on here, then I'm no longer burdened by holding this. So, is it time to leave America? What you think? I'm gonna assume that Lindsay can hear me now, since I can pull it up on my phone and it's playing on my other phone. Okay. I must not be muted anymore because I can hear me on the other phone. Definitely. So as I was, I'm definitely back on vocals. Mic check. My mic sound nice. Y'all mama salt and pepper. So again, is it time to leave? Like, so even Chat GPT says yes, there is an uptick in Americans leaving. The lady on the Instagram post that was talking about it said that she saw the increase in people of a wealthier class. There are people who have $1 million homes and they're selling those homes for the liquidity and the migrating activity. So what do you think? If the millionaires are getting out, and I guess the idea is America has a good number of millionaires, if the millionaires are saying, I'm out of here, what does that mean for the rest of us? How are we to fend for ourselves? That's the question I'm trying to ask. And like I said, I don't know the answer. I'm literally hoping somebody would come through and say something in the comments and be like, but you see, sir. So, like I said, Chat GPT has its own opinion. And let me ask you, so which do y'all prefer? Do y'all use Chat GPT? Do you use what's the other one? DeepSeek, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini? So again, actually ChatGPT says $1 million home sales, especially in the Carolinas, because the lady who made the post on Instagram said that she's specifically focused on or works in deals with North and South Carolina. So she's, and that's the other thing that's interesting. It's like, okay, so she says she's only working at North Carolina and South Carolina transactions. She says she's seen a record number of transactions that show $1 million homes being sold and the people trying to get the hell up out of here. Okay, that's cool. But you openly admit you're only dealing with 2 states out of 50. And even if you want to say just the contiguous 48, because some people be like, well, who counts Alaska and who counts Hawaii? That's another story. But okay, so let's just count the contiguous 2 out of 48. And you're saying everybody's hopping ship, jumping ship, when you're only dealing with 2 states. And then her number, she says 5 out of the 11 current transactions that I'm dealing with. And I'm like, 5 out of 11? You extrapolating this migration wave for the entire country based on 5 out of 11 transactions? If you said 500 out of 1,000, I mean, the math would be the same. It's still almost half. So I guess statistically, you might still be okay. But, when I know when people start talking statistics, they say, well, how large is the sample size? It's not just about the ratio. If the sample size is too small, then any extraction, any points that you make about it are null and void. But it still begs the question, is it time to leave? How do y'all feel about the DC takeover, the warnings and the threats about spreading the takeover to all the chocolate cities? He's definitely looking at going to all the cities that not only just, because it's not just a Democrat thing. It is definitely a Democrat thing. But if the city is run by a Black Democrat, or if the city is filled with Black Democrats, he is planning to do in those cities what he's doing in DC. How do y'all feel about that? So that's my question. I do appreciate the 2 likes I got. Hope the 2 people that liked, if you liked it, say something. I'll give you a shout out. Tell me where you're listening from, where you're tuning in from. Are you in Virginia like I am? Or you in another East Coast state, the West Coast, or what have you? How you feel it? Have you been watching the news? Have you been watching the DC takeover? Are y'all familiar with the fact that supposedly you can't even find information about protests if you look up protests? Because there's some kind of on that. And so people are saying, yeah, but if you put in Music Fest 2025 or LA Music Fest 2025, then you get all your timeline will be flooded with all of the pushback, all the civil unrest that's going on, that legacy media is not discussing, is not highlighting, is not focusing on. Have y'all seen that to be true? Like I said, I'm just here for questions. I'm just here for questions. I can provide some answers, but I'm no expert. I'm just here for questions. This is Shabazz with the proper perspective. I'm not an expert, but I do have expertise. So I'm just trying to see what's going on with the people. Now, Lindsay had asked a question: John Marston or Arthur Morgan? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. I can't address that. I can hear me on the other phone. So okay, like I said, now. So if I'm not gonna be here much longer, let me see. I got my food. I'm about ready to go eat. And this is not a like if you are familiar with the channel, normally I do Shabazz around town and I go live at a restaurant. But I decided to get some home cooked food today. So it is what it is. But again, I see I got 5 people in here. One just bounced. Okay, I got 4 people in here. What y'all up to? What y'all doing? I'm not here, but I'm not gonna be here much longer. Just wanted to check in and see if anybody thinks it's time to leave America. And if so, would you sell all your stuff? Would you sell your house? Would you sell your car and hop on a plane? And where would you go? ChatGPT said a lot of people are looking at Spain. Would you go to Spain? Would you go to some other European country? Would you go tropical and go to a Caribbean nation? Would you go to South America? It's trying to stay in the hemisphere and it's trying to stay on the continent that you were born on, so to speak. Or would you cross the Atlantic? I know what I would do. I would do my best to cross the Atlantic. I would do my best to cross the Atlantic. I'd be looking at Ghana, Senegal. I'd be looking at Liberia, Sierra Leone. Might be looking at Egypt, Morocco, Rwanda, somewhere on the continent, somewhere on the African continent. But I'm not opposed. I could do a Caribbean island too. Peace to Cha Hines. Cha Hines. Okay, I hope I got your name right. Che Hines, Cha Hines. I hope I said your name right. Peace to you. Thank you for joining. Hit the like button, please. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm waiting to see if other people are going to join. The biggest, the question of the day is it time to leave America? I've been talking about this Instagram post that sort of got me started. I wish I had a way where I could show it. And I can't, at least on the phone. And if I would have got to my computer, I could have showed it through the computer. Let me see. Cha Hines says no, it's not like that. H. It's Arabic. It's an Arabic name. Oh, it's not okay. So I said it wrong. I should not have said Cha Hines. H. It's Chahines. Chahines. Is that is that better or was that equally butchery? Was that just as bad on the butchery of the name? I do apologize. If you had a way to, type it in there where I could read it, then I could probably say it better. No, oh my God. Like I said, my bad. I do apologize. Um, I, as a former teacher, I try to pride myself on pronouncing people's names correctly, but I'm gonna need some assistance. I'm gonna need something like if your name popped up on my student roll, I'd be like, okay, how you say this? I can usually get it if I hear it once or twice, and then we good. But just saying it on here, you can listen and use French. French. Yeah, like if I heard somebody say it, if I heard you say it, or if it's just it is what it is right here because of technology and this is YouTube and stuff like that. Like I said, if this was back in my classroom, then I'd have other means at my disposal to be like, let me type it up, or let me ask somebody probably at the school would be like, oh, I already know the student and this is how you pronounce it. So, you know, but how are you doing anyhow? So okay, so I don't want to mispronounce your name again, but so my question to you is, since you have an Arabic name, from where are you tapping in? Are you in an Arabian country? Are you in Egypt, Morocco? Are you in Arabia? Are you where you listening at? Yes, it's different, but it's not that possible to say it. Okay. Well, like I said, Sahah Himes. Yeah, I could try. Oh, you're Algerian. Okay. Okay, peace to Algeria. I do believe Algeria has a nice little history of helping out African American revolutionaries. Back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, a lot of African American revolutionaries ended up having to leave America, since that's the topic, because they were putting up such a fight against the American government that they had to escape to save their lives. And I do believe Algeria opened its doors to some of them. Some of the Black Panthers, some of the Black Liberation Army members ended up escaping to Algeria. I think. Now, again, I'm not. Don't quote. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I do. I think it was Algeria that some of them fled to. They danced around the continent for a little bit. Some of them couldn't even stay in one country for a while. But these were the revolutionaries, the ones that they weren't about getting on the mic and trying to plead the case. They weren't about getting on the mic and being great orators. They were about action, and they took some serious actions. So he says, "Okay, I have to visit. It's good. I do want to visit. My bucket list plan is to visit. I used to say I want to. Well, I still say it. I would love to be able to visit all 54 countries on the continent. Now, money being what it be, you know, I'm waiting on that lottery ticket before I know for sure that could actually happen logistically. But I would love to come visit um, Algeria. Now let me see. Somebody else has just entered the chat, and I would say peace and welcome to you. But as bad as I butchered the Arabic name, I can't even butcher this other person because I can't even read the calligraphy of the text that identifies them. So I could just say peace to you, hello, how you doing? Now, again, I'm gonna say your name wrong, and I apologize for that because there's no way for me to get it right. Cha Hines asks, "Are you American?" That's an interesting question. That's a hot topic debate in the Black community over here. Now, for international purposes, yes, I am an American. That's what's my driver's license, my passport, and the whole nine. But if you're familiar with American politics, American culture, there's a vast number of Black Americans that don't necessarily want to identify themselves that way. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a significant number of Black Americans that do want to be identified that way. We are actually having a bit of a major dispute in our community about that. But the people that I roll with, the people in my cipher, when we travel overseas and somebody says, "Are you American?" we be like, no, hold up. You're going to correct that. I'm Black American. I'm African American. That would be like the furthest we would go. Now, some of us would be like, especially the revolutionaries I was talking about before. The revolutionaries would say, or the Afrocentric revolutionaries would say, "I'm an African." Period. Point blank. That's all there is to it. Don't hyphenate it no other kind of way. So again, it's a loaded question. There are some African Americans, there are some Black people in America who will say, "Yes, I'm American, I'm Black American." There's even a new group saying, "I'm foundational Black American." That's all. Everybody has the right to identify themselves the way they want to. Let me see. Zenizen, and again, I do apologize for butchering people's names, but Zenizen 12, or Xenize no 12. Bro, C. Don Polio. Peace, bro. Peace for coming in. Now, Charles said, because your language is different. There we use the British English. Angola uses British English? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Yeah, British English is definitely different from American English. And both of those are different sometimes from Black American English, African American vernacular, to say the least. Um, People do what they do with languages, especially when those languages come from outside influences. Sly Brown has entered the chat and are the people whom you know. You can't speak for all. Okay, I'm not sure what that was about, but if it was about the comments that I made, I think I clearly said I wasn't speaking for everybody. So the child says no different. I am white and live in Algeria. It's not about the color if you're a good person that we are the same, black or white. All humans are perfect. I agree with some of that. I don't think all humans are perfect. I think all humans are imperfect, and we strive to be good. I agree with that. Um, Now, as to whether or not, okay, when you say you're white, I wonder what white you mean. Um, and I'm aware, I know, I recognize that white has different connotations from country to country. So when you say you're white, it, you know, what does white mean in Algeria as opposed to what white means in America? That's an interesting conversation. I would love to hear, your opinion, your answer if you feel like writing that down there. If you don't, that's cool. But like I said, thanks to anybody and everybody that is talking and going back and forth with this little chat. Make sure you hit the like button. I see two people did. I do appreciate that. Some people pop in and be like, "Oh, he ain't talking about shit. I'm out of here." And okay, that's cool too. I do think some of these conversations are interesting enough for me to stay on and continue them. But I would appreciate anybody hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Even though, the question is it time to leave America? I'm up for any kind of conversation that we can have. And hey, you know, if it is time to leave America, Algeria is not off the map. It's not off the table. I'm Muslim, so we have to accept all humans in this life. Somebody are bad, but we have to stay good. That's true. Assalamu alaikum. I have a certain affinity towards Islam. I used to be a practicing Muslim. I'm no longer a practicing Muslim, and depending on how various Muslim branches have different feelings about people who no longer practice. There are some Sunnis that say if you stop practicing, then you are you are on the hell side of things. Hey, that's y'all. But hey, I still have an appreciation for Islam. I still have an appreciation for Muslims. So, like I said, assalamu alaikum. Definitely Islam is good, but people are bad. I promise. I promise you. Sly Brown says, nah, bro, it's time for them what to leave or them white to leave. Um, I kind of guess I think I understand what you're saying, and now you know it's time for who to leave and leave where. I want to. I mean, I definitely feel you. You definitely spelled it so that it could be 100% clear. I feel you. It's time for them to leave. I mean, that may be true, but you know, I don't think that's not something I don't think that's something that's gonna happen. We could say we want them to leave, they should leave, they shouldn't be here, but they hold the keys to power. They ain't going nowhere unless they're forced. And we of the certain melanated complexion, we don't have we don't have the military power to enforce that type of idea, and we don't have the will. Like the vast majority of us don't even want something like that. So we are in a small minority community of those who might actually want it, and we certainly don't have the military might to have it done. So I think that would be, if that's the case, maybe it is time to leave. If you actually want, because when you say you want them to leave, and I don't disagree with you, but when you say you want them to leave, in essence, what you're saying is you want to be in a place without them. Well, what is it? The path of least resistance? The path of least resistance is, if you can't take Muhammad to the mountain, or if Muhammad, what is, okay, I'm messing it up. If Muhammad can't go to the mountain, then you take the mountain to Muhammad. If you want to be in a place where they're not there, then go to a place where they're not there. Now, Cha says, I think you're a good person. I appreciate that. I hope you're good. Goodbye. Just stay happy. Your smile is beautiful. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Peace. Assalamu alaikum to you again. Hopefully, yeah. Okay, I got at least one other person that hit the like button, so I appreciate that. Slide Brown, Europe and the mountains are open home for them. Yes, I know. We'll never come that close together. And so, like I said, I certainly appreciate the the clarity and the upfrontness that you use to express that idea. And I don't disagree with you at all. I'm just saying when once you start to look at the math and you look at the numbers, like I said, as much as you may want that to occur, that's pie in the skyism. So for me, it's more practical to say, well, if that's what I want, then in essence, what I want is to be in a place where they're not at. So let me grab this map. Can I find some places where they're not at? And if I can't, okay, can I find some places where they are so minimally present that their presence is insignificant? Now, hey, they are the global minority. By numbers, they are indeed the global minority. But like I said, if you don't have the global majority who have the will and the military ability to enforce their migration back to the mountains, then again, at least in our lifetime, hey, if they ain't gonna go nowhere and we not gonna unite in such a way as to make them go somewhere, I'm not saying it's every man for himself, but I am saying then it behooves you, then it behooves you to at least investigate where can you live on God's green earth and be minimally affected by their presence. So he says they are the minority, right? Before you finish your statements. Okay. I mean, like I said, I feel you. They definitely are the minority. Uh, but again, I mean, as difficult as it is for any one group who fits into the global majority, black people have extremely difficult times uniting in one country. Black Americans can't unite on too much. You know, you go to another country, Jamaicans, they don't unite on a whole lot. Nigerians, they don't unite on a whole lot. Ghanaians, they don't unite on a whole lot. If black people as a group have such a hard time uniting, and again, we don't have the will or the military power to make it happen. We can't unite on the will or the military power to develop it. And then you go to the brown countries, and you see in the Latin community, they can't unite on a thing. And then you go to the Arabic countries, and they can't unite on a thing. And then you go to the yellow Asian countries, and they can't unite on a thing. And then you go to the brown Asian countries, and they can't unite on a thing. It's never going to happen. So again, the question then becomes, do we simply just wish they'd go back? Or do we put ourselves in a position where we can live our lives in an area, in a place that is not overrun, is not over flooded, is not over, I don't want to say infected, that's the wrong word, over influenced by their presence, by their power, etc., by their culture or their culture vulturism. And then just live in a theoretically in a so-called peaceful manner. So that's the question. That's my question to you, to anybody else. If you're tuning in, if you catch the replay of this live, that's the question. So again, I do appreciate anybody for dropping in. So yes, Sly Brown says true. So I feel you. You kind of see what you kind of see where I'm at, what I'm doing. I appreciate Sly Brown for dropping by. I appreciate Shaheem's and the calligraphy named person, Zanesian, and let me see who else came through. Turtle Kisser came through. Owen Thompson came through. Inside came through. So I appreciate all of that. Like I said, hit the like button, hit the sub button. I do these lives somewhat infrequently. I'm not on a schedule like everybody else. I just like as soon as a thought come to my head, I'm like, let me see what other people think. But I do some solid standard, like full scale. I sit at the computer and I pop up and I got like charts and graphs and PowerPoint presentations and look at this and look at that. Uh, for some of the same types of topics, but I do deep dives in them. And so I will be doing a deep dive very soon on a topic related to Black history. So if you're interested in Black history, if you're interested in Marcus Garvey, then again, hit the sub button so that when I go live about Marcus Garvey, you get that. But again, so this is Shabazz with the proper perspective, just checking in to see how people feel about leaving America and whether or not you think most Americans or a lot of Americans are leaving. And maybe they're leaving on the sneak tip. So put a comment, drop a statement on the comment section, and I'll catch you on the next live. Peace.